Welcome to LightHouse KinShip's devotional video, The Rhythm of My Heart, Perspective, Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 and 2, TPT. Christ's resurrection is your resurrection too. That is why we are to yearn for all that is above, for that's where Christ sits enthroned at the place of all power, honor, and authority. Yes, feast on all the treasures of the heavenly realm and fill your thoughts with heavenly realities and not with the distractions of the natural realm. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 amplified, and do not be conformed to this world any longer with its superficial values and customs, but be transformed and progressively changed as you mature spiritually by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values and ethical attitudes, so that you may prove for yourself what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect in His plan and purpose for you.
1 John 2, verses 15 to 17, TPT. Don't set the affections of your heart on this world, or in loving the things of the world. The love of the Father and the love of the world are incompatible. For all that the world can offer us, the gratification of our flesh, the allurement of the things of the world, and the obsession with status and importance, none of these things come from the Father, but from the world. This world and its desires are in the process of passing away, but those who love to do the will of God live forever. Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, Monica and I were at Grayson Highlands State Park, mouth of Wilson, Virginia, at the Sugarland Overlook.
Perspective, the lens at which I view my life and God's role in my life, which determines the rhythm of my heart. For me, the book of Job is one book of God's divine word that I wrestle with. Job chapter 1. Satan's attack on Job's livestock brought Job confusion and uncertainty, but for God to allow the death of all of Job's children at once, what grief, despair, and sorrow Job had to be experiencing. But where was Job's perspective, the rhythm of his heart?
Job 1, verses 18 to 22, New King James. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And suddenly a great wind came from across the wilderness and struck the four corners of the house, and it fell on the young people, and they are dead. And I alone have escaped to tell you. Then Job arose, tore his robe, and shaved his head. And he fell to the ground and worshipped. And he said, Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job did not sin nor charge God with wrong.
What about you? Can it be said of you like Job, verse 22? In all this, Job did not sin nor charge God with wrong. Bobby and I have listened to many hours of God's messages from Dr. Charles Stanley. There has been one specific situation in Dr. Stanley's life that has enabled me to look through God's lens and not mine. It is not the trials in your life that develop or destroy you, but rather your response to these hardships. Dr. Charles F Stanley. Job maintained his eternal perspective through his overwhelming trials.
Job 19, verses 25 and 26, amplified. For I know that my Redeemer and Vindicator lives, and at the last he will take his stand upon the earth. Even after my mortal skin is destroyed by death, yet from my immortal flesh I will see God.
I must view every situation and trial coming through God, who is my Redeemer and my Vindicator. What about you? Can you say, as Job and Habakkuk, that God of heaven and earth is your Redeemer and Vindicator when all in your life has been swallowed up and destroyed?
Habakkuk 3, verses 17 to 19 NLT. Even though the fig trees have no blossoms, and there are no grapes on the vines, even though the olive crop fails, and the fields lie empty and barren, even though the flocks die in the fields, and the cattle barns are empty, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes me as sure-footed as a deer, able to tread upon the heights.
This includes our devotional video of Lighthouse Kinship, The Rhythm of My Heart, Perspective, Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 to 21, TPT. Don't keep hoarding for yourselves earthly treasures that can be stolen by thieves. Material wealth eventually rusts, decays, and loses its value. Instead, stockpile heavenly treasures for yourself that cannot be stolen and will never rust, decay, or lose their value. For your heart will always pursue what you esteem as your treasure.
Monica and I thank you for traveling along with us here at the Homestead area at Grayson Highland State Park, mouth of Wilson, Virginia. Come along and journey with us by subscribing to our channel. Hit that little notification bell so that you won't miss our next stop. And please, give us a thumbs up, helping us to spread the gospel by sharing these videos on your social media platforms. Thank you for leaving your comments below on how these devotions are helping you, and also your prayer requests so that we know how to pray for you.